Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for a TEQ Marketing Update. My name is Madison Tanner, Marketing Program Leader here at TEQ. I'd like to begin by respectfully acknowledging the traditional owners on the land of which we meet today, the Yugara and Turrbal people, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Before I introduce our first speakers, just a little bit of housekeeping. You will have the opportunity to ask questions or make comments today through the chat function, which you can see on screen. The TEQ team will be moderating the chat and we would really love to hear from you, so please do engage with us through the chat. If you have any questions that are related specifically to your business, please email info@queensland.com and the team can respond to you following the session. Now I'd like to introduce our first speakers today. We're thrilled to be joined by the Honourable Sterling Hinchliffe, Minister for Tourism, Industry Development and Innovation and Minister for Sport. Also joining the Minister is Ms Leanne Coddington, Chief Executive Officer at Tourism and Events Queensland. Thanks, Minister and Leanne.
Thanks, Madison, and I can join you in acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands which we're all gathered on today, right across the state and potentially beyond. Thank you for coming together for this marketing update from TEQ, and I'm really pleased to be able to be part of it, to acknowledge that this is part of what we're doing as a government to take forward and take further the message and promotion of the great destinations and experiences and products that we have here in Queensland, because Queensland is Australia's favourite holiday destination, and we've seen that's been confirmed in so many ways. So the campaign that started to hit airways and screens and the world, all across Queensland yesterday, is an opportunity to continue to evolve the long-term strategy in relation to brand Queensland. So this is off the back of and still sits within the framework of that story of Queensland being beautiful one day and perfect the next. Then over the last 12 months, we've really told that message about Queensland being good to go. That's been very successful. And so this opportunity to emotionally connect with people about days like this is that next step and that next part of the evolution. It is part of what we're doing to support the industry right at this point in time. It is focused on a intra-state, a Queensland market, but it sits ready to flex into being responsive to other markets as they come back on board, and not only across the nation but into New Zealand and then ultimately internationally as well. But it's all part of the way in which we want to continue to support industry and work alongside industry. So this $2.5 million campaign, we think, is going to inspire people's desire and help reinforce the good experiences people have had through holidaying in Queensland over what has been a challenging period of the last 12 months or so, and inspire them to find that next place, that next experience, that next holiday in Queensland, and for them to be booking. So I will hand over now to Leanne Coddington, and I really appreciate your interest and engagement in this opportunity and so many more that we'll have going ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. And I too would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which this event is taking place and their elders past, present and emerging. And thank you so much for the industry taking the time today to join us online to get this update on this exciting new campaign that we launched yesterday. And we're absolutely committed to taking every opportunity we can to drive visitors around the state. At the moment, that opportunity is obviously to inspire Queenslanders to explore their own state. And we've seen excellent support from Queenslanders over the past 12 months, and we need to keep that motivation up for them to support our industry and explore more. So we felt that now was the right time to evolve the message to do that. And while Good to Go will still continue, as the Minister said, through retail and trade partnerships, Days Like This is our aspirational campaign. And what you'll see through the campaign is a focus on those moments that make holidays memorable, the simple pleasures, and Queensland's experiences that give you those moments. Our research shows us that as we emerge from restrictions, we want to connect with family, friends, and our natural environment. And this is the first step towards focusing on more purposeful travel. It's a long-term strategy where we'll continue to leverage the equity of the famous, beautiful, One Day Perfect, the Next brand. And what you'll see in this series of advertisements is a platform of a beautiful way to be. And Michael will talk some more to that. I'm excited to share with you the principles behind this campaign and the opportunities to get involved. And as ever, we're focused on this campaign bringing results to you in the short and long term, and I encourage you to work with our teams on those opportunities. At this point, with borders closed, it is all about Queenslanders visiting around Queensland, and as restrictions ease, we look forward to taking this campaign to national and international audiences. So with that, I hand over to Michael Branner to give you an update on the campaign. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Leanne, and good morning, everybody. It's fantastic to be here, and thank you for taking the time to step out of your day-to-day work on a Monday morning to hear from us and to understand a little bit more about our new campaign direction, the opportunities to really engage and get involved in it, and particularly just how we see this working for Queensland in the months ahead. Can we jump to the next slide? Thanks, mate. So what we're going to cover today, just by way of background, is we are going to very much touch on some of the things that have been alluded to today, which is the thinking behind this campaign and the strategy that's gone into it. Obviously, you know, the big reveal and the big opportunity to then showcase creatively how we are looking to bring this campaign to life. The media thinking and media strategy behind it to ensure that we can reach the right target audiences and really connect with them, but also the opportunity for you, the industry, to get behind that campaign and look to ways in which you can leverage the activation and the activity itself as well. The opportunity and how we'll approach it from a trade and distribution point of view to maximize conversion off the back of this. You know, the whole campaign is really designed to take people from, you know, an aspiration and the intention to visit and holiday within Queensland right the way through to connecting with those points of conversion to make a booking, you know, be that a direct booking or through other trade and distribution channels as well. And then most importantly, those leverage opportunities that sit behind it all. From a marketing strategy roadmap point of view, as you know, Leanne and the Minister have indicated, you know, we've been very much focused on recovery, very much focused on our Good to Go activity, and very much focused on meeting those rational needs of travellers over the recent 12 months. You know, really importantly, we saw, you know, how important it was when we were able to take advantage of our borders reopening, of travel restrictions easing, to really get out there and just, you know, focus on very, very rational and very tactical campaign messaging to drive immediate uptake and immediate demand. But we've also recognised that we have to have an eye on growth at the same point in time. You know, it's very much a balanced approach to make sure that we tap into this idea that we have to be very tactical and conversion focused at one end, and also, you know, very aspirational at the other end, to make sure that, you know, we start to fill the funnel from the top and then convert all the way through that funnel as well. So over the recent months, it's been very much about that short-term, you know, immediate conversion focus. But again, our insights, our research tell us that we now need to start turning an eye towards continuing to build aspiration for holidaying within Queensland, for taking advantage of everything that we have to offer here in Queensland in respect to our destinations, our experiences, our wonderful natural assets, and our incredible culture, and really drive aspiration for that to ensure that we can continue the momentum that we have enjoyed over recent times from Queenslanders around holidaying here in Queensland, but also then, you know, turn an eye to the future as well. And we'll do that through our new aspirational brand platform, which we will, you know, inform you and take you through a little bit more of the thinking behind that today, as well as unveil that for you and give you a closer look at what that's all about. one of the things that we've been really conscious of is just working through what does that rebound strategy look like. And as you can appreciate, in recent times, this strategy has changed many, many times over even recent days. It was only a couple of weeks ago that we were thinking about launching and taking this activity nationally. Obviously, with recent changes in respect to borders and with respect to restrictions in terms of travel, stage one of our campaign Rebound is really focused on maximising the intrastate market opportunity, ensuring that we can get Queenslanders out there and supporting Queensland as much as we possibly can. In the second phase, as soon as our interstate borders do permit, we will take this activity into our interstate markets and look to be opportunistic. If it was Victoria that opened first, South Australia, New South Wales, wherever it may well be, we'll be straight back into those interstate markets as soon as those conditions permit. And then in the longer term, we are focused on a national and New Zealand opportunity to really maximise, the aspirational platform that we've created here to get back into a fully national approach and also across the Tasman as well to our New Zealand neighbours, and make sure that we continue to drive demand out of New Zealand. Obviously, that's been delayed due to some of the restrictions that were put in place there last week. So looking forward to the opportunity to get back into that New Zealand market. We were seeing really strong, trends, and we were really seeing strong intention, and we were quite confident that there was going to be quite a big uptick in New Zealand in the months ahead. We now just have to delay those plans for 8 weeks in the short term until we can get back in there again with more purpose. But if we do turn our eyes to Queensland, we know that Queenslanders absolutely love Queensland, and they've demonstrated that over the last 12 months. We've really seen Queenslanders get up there, get out there, and support Queensland tourism like they never have before. In the year ending March 21, we saw 77% of our overnight visitor expenditure come from that intrastate market. And that's a big difference to back in 2019, which is the nearest comparable period, where that figure was around about 51%. So Queenslanders really have driven the recovery within Queensland over the last 12 months, and it's been fantastic to see them do that. And at record levels, our intrastate market has remained really strong. In that year ending March 21, our leisure overnight visitor expenditure from the intrastate market was $6.1 billion. And you've got to consider that's been throughout what has been a very challenging year. But by way of record, that was close to $2 billion more than that 2019 comparable period as well. So when we've gone out there and asked Queenslanders to get behind Queensland and really support Queensland tourism, they have done an incredible job of doing so, which is absolutely fantastic. And one of the primary drivers of what's driven that from a Queenslander point of view is that Queenslanders tell us they feel safe travelling within Queensland, which is great news. 81% of Queenslanders feel safe travelling within Queensland itself. And that's very different to the way Queenslanders feel about travelling interstate, where only about 50% of Queenslanders currently would say that they're confident to take an interstate holiday at this moment. So that does give us an opportunity. It does say and give us the reassurance that if we ask Queenslanders to get out there and support Queensland's tourism industry, our operators, our experiences, and everything wonderful that we have to explore here, that Queenslanders will absolutely get behind this and do so because they do feel safe to do it. And I think we've got to attribute that to a lot of the work that was done over the last 12 months with the likes of the Good to Go platform and the other messaging that not only TEQ, but our RTO partners and industry alike have really got behind to reassure Queenslanders that we are all capable and all doing the right things to ensure that Queenslanders feel very strong getting out there and supporting our industry. But at the same point in time, we know our job and we see that we need to continually reignite interest in Queensland as well. When we look at our brand research and we look at our brand health and tracking studies, the great news is that Queensland is the #1 brand amongst our competitive set. It is the most desired, it is the most intended, it is the most considered brand when it comes to travel and when it comes to a destination. But what we also see out of a lot of that work as well is that the reason and the challenge to maintain #1 is to continually reignite interest in Queensland, to make sure that people are continually inspired about those opportunities to explore more of Queensland, to go further, to go to unknown places, to go to familiar places, but they need to be continually inspired to have that interest in Queensland reignited constantly, or we do face the risk of the intention and consideration to continue to holiday in Queensland, dropping away again. So again, the whole purpose of this campaign platform, supported by our more tactical activity, is to continue to inspire our Queenslanders to get out there and experience as much of Queensland as they possibly can in the months ahead, to give us the best possible chance of continuing, recovery momentum. We know it's not easy. We know it's hard. We know the ups and downs of issues around interstate borders opening and closing are challenging. But what we do know is, in the first instance here, we can really back Queenslanders and really give Queenslanders the right reasons to get out there and explore as much of the state as they possibly can in the months ahead. And to do that, I'd like to hand over to Carmenza Cespedes, our Director of Strategy and Innovation, to outline some of the thinking from a brand point of view that has really gone into the development of this campaign. Thanks, Carmenza.
Thanks, Michael. So here's a fact. We as humans and consumers are increasingly looking for purpose. To clarify, purpose in terms of brands is otherwise known as the reason a brand exists beyond making profit. A brand's purpose, or if you will, its promise to a consumer, is what helps to establish trust and loyalty with consumers and gives products and services a competitive edge. Prior to COVID, Accenture, a global consulting firm, noted that 2/3 of global consumers said they preferred to buy from brands that stood for something. Most recently, Deloitte's 2021 Global Marketing Trends reported and stated that 79% of global consumers recalled instances of brands positively responding to COVID-19 to help their customers, workforces, and communities. So let me share with you a number of rising trends that we are seeing amongst travelers who are looking for purpose when they make choices about their travel. COVID-19 has elevated the significance of travel and the meaningful role it plays in people's lives. More travelers today are seeking transformational travel. They want to be transformed. They want to be changed by travel. They want to feel, grow, and engage. They're also becoming increasingly conscious about how their travel personally impacts communities and the environment. They're making choices about where they travel based on their personal values. More travelers are seeking experiences that authentically demonstrate their commitment to sustainability, connection to local cultures, and empowerment of communities. COVID's ongoing lockdowns, closed borders, and social distancing has made travelers hungry for connection and discovery. Travelers are missing the simple things in life and want real human connection, as both Michael and Leanne spoke to. They want to spend face-to-face time with their family and their friends. They want to socialize, celebrate life events, and just be together. They are yearning for the vibrancy and buzz of people out and about enjoying life. With the uncertainty around international travel, travelers are also keen to discover new places, new experiences, and are open to rediscovering experiences that exist in their own regions. They are looking for new ways to fulfill that sense of wanderlust. The Lab, an Australian research agency, has been running the Australian project for the past couple of years. It's an ongoing cultural insight study into the Australian fabric of life. It explores the meaning people seek, their values, attitudes, and beliefs, creating an evocative picture of what Aussies are after today and into the near future. In the face of adversity, Australians remain resilient and are looking ahead to being more grateful and appreciative of the people who are close to them. Here are some key insights for you to ponder. 79% of Australians are feeling more grateful than ever for the way of life here in Australia. They're living with a renewed sense of gratitude. 88% appreciate the small things in everyday life, and they're finding new joy in the smaller wins as they go about living their everyday lives. And 91% are needing to make the most of what they've got. They're being more thoughtful about what they have versus focusing on what they don't. So, as a result, Australians' sense of gratitude opens up two key opportunities for TEQ. They are creating meaningful moments and two, live for the now. So let me explain what these opportunities mean and how other global and national brands are tapping into these insights. Creating meaningful moments. It's really about knowing what's important to you, knowing what not to take for granted. It's ultimately about people being together. Google's Helping You Help Them campaign celebrates the diverse ways we as humans can connect and how meaningful relationships with others enable personal and collective leaps. It really highlights this idea, this joy of connection. Carton Dry, on the other hand, through their Beer Like Beer campaign, talks to how people can find pleasure in the simple things. And Australian Unity, a well-being company, has released their Make More of the In-Between Moments. I really love that. And that ad, what it does, it talks to how they are helping people create space, both mentally and physically, so that people, their consumers, can put time and energy into their relationships. On the other hand, Live for the Now is about making the most of the now and being together. After living on pause, it isn't worth wasting any more time, right? It's about being ready for anything and leaping right in. So Kathmandu is doing a really good job of this. They're celebrating dare and spontaneity in their We're Out There advertisements. They're encouraging Australians to live courageously and with flair because it's more fun like that. City of Melbourne's advertising campaigns, you may have seen them, Get in the City of Get FOMO, or their Stay Close, Go Further advertisements are all about enticing people to keep exploring, keep discovering, reinforcing the idea that there are no limits for yourself. Don't settle. And lastly, Ethical Nutrients, another well-being company. They are also promoting this idea of making the most out of life in their marketing. Their Live Life Resilient ads urge Australians to not waste a moment, squeeze the most out of life. It's too important to let life slide by. In fact, Australians are keen to enjoy everything life can offer them. We have reinvigorated momentum to enjoy everything life can offer us. On a national scale, the lab learned that 81% of Australians are willing to push forward, no matter what life throws at them. And under 25-year-olds, they're even more keen at 92%. So with all of that in mind, I'm so excited to tell you that our purpose-led Queensland brand strategy, Travel for Good, you'll remember that, right, is now more relevant than ever. In a COVID-19 world, we know through the consumer research and global trends that our brand strategy, Travel for Good, is more compelling today for travelers and can strongly position Queensland to meet the existing and emerging emotional and aspirational needs of consumers. Let me remind you, TEQ undertook an extensive review of the Queensland brand in 2019. This involved us partnering with a global brand and insights consultancy firm by the name of Landor. And what we did was we worked with them to understand those emerging global consumer trends and explore innovative brand strategy positioning. This review also included an extensive consultation with stakeholders and destinations with myself, the team. Lander went out to the field and really worked with you folks to understand your insights and understanding of Queensland and what it stands for. Ultimately, the project resulted in us landing the Travel for Good brand strategy, and we developed a 15-year implementation roadmap that currently sees us just in year 2, where we find ourselves in the now, evolving our global creative platform to further bring the brand to life. So our promise, right? Our purpose-led brand strategy, Travel for Good, promises to connect travelers with a place that floors them with diverse and rich epic wonder, where they will leave restored and renewed, a place that will change them and eventually the world. Only in Queensland can the ancient wisdom of the world's oldest living culture inspire a new relationship between travelers and our extraordinarily diverse land. Our brand fundamentals are represented here in this framework, and it includes our brand purpose and why we exist, to travel for good. So simply put, travel for good means travel is good for travelers' well-being. It gives travelers the ability to connect with oneself and with others in a real, authentic way. It is both healing and exhilarating. It can feed the mind, it can activate the body and lift the heart. Travel also provides travelers with the opportunity to make a positive contribution to the world. Travel can be good for the world. Travelers can do good by engaging with local community, learning about ancient cultures, caring about the places they visit, and in some cases, being an active participant in its custodianship. So the time is now, people, to take our next step in our 15-year roadmap and bringing the Travel for Good brand to life and inspiring travelers to dream, plan, and ultimately choose Queensland as a destination of choice so that they can be changed by the diverse offerings of our experiences and destinations. So as Michael mentioned earlier, to generate consumer demand in a COVID-19 world, we adopted a 2-speed strategy that aims to drive recovery and growth simultaneously. As you can see with the sliding scale, our main focus has been on recovery initiatives that target consumers and markets that can travel to Queensland now. However, we have our eyes on the future and we are delivering initiatives that will drive growth. We've had much success with our Good to Go platform, which we launched in 2020 to drive recovery and build consumer trust and confidence via tactical campaign activity. We are now embarking on driving consumer growth through meeting consumer emotional needs by delivering aspirational marketing activity that introduces TQ's global creative platform, A Beautiful Way to Be, and the campaign activation days like this. Again, we're so excited to share this with you because it brings to life key tenets of our Travel for Good brand. So our marketing strategy for Days Like This campaign is broken down as follows. And here are a list of those targeted consumer needs that we are addressing. 1, people. Travelers are craving time with family and friends, and they want personal self-care to offset this continual COVID fatigue and isolation. Our marketing approach is to bravely activate that Travel for Good purpose to help those travelers reset, renew, and reconnect with themselves and their families. Moments. Travelers want to experience deep connection, and they want to enjoy the simple pleasures of life. Through our Days Like This campaign, we can activate moments of connection that fulfill what travelers are looking for in holiday right now. So for instance, such as sunshine feeling. So that's Queensland's distinct lifestyle, right? And it gives that deeper meaning behind our state's beautiful sunshine. It's actually the sun that can act as a life force that enables things to grow and thrive. Also closer to nature, right? Another key driver. It speaks to that diversity of nature on our doorstep. How relaxation is integrated in the Queensland lifestyle and the psyche of locals, and Indigenous culture is such an instrumental component in this, and it creates further depths to what we mean by closer to nature. And when we talk about magical quality, right? Queensland's global relevance through its grandeur and rarity of awe-inspiring experiences. These experiences that we know move travelers through immersive connections with ages, cultural traditions. This is how we can make that connection through our content. Place. Travelers have a need to feel moved and changed by the experiences and places they travel to. Our approach is to focus on discovery and celebrate the diversity of destinations and experiences that sets Queensland as a place for travel for good and harness greater appreciation. So in terms of our consumer targeting approach, I want to highlight that this campaign will target consumer segments from our global consumer segmentation model. As a reminder, the model is made up of leisure travelers, which they're split by 3 traveler groups. You got your holiday travelers, you got your VFR travelers, and you've got your event travelers. Although our campaign activity will be far-reaching and aims to inspire and drive consideration for travelers over 18-year-olds, our target consumers for the campaign are families, young and mature couples, solo and event travelers. And you'll see these segments highlighted in the gorgeous creative content that the lovely Michelle Blancato will now take you through.
Thanks, Carmenza. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. So days like this, it's the New Queensland campaign and really talks to those moments that make a holiday memorable. You know, in any given year, you only remember a handful of days, and it's those special ones with those memorable moments connecting to loved ones in places you remember. So you remember those days, you appreciate them, and who doesn't want more of them? Our campaign is emotive. It's authentic, it's joyful, it's full of I want to do that experiences with a hint of discovery. And we're so lucky to have a brand as strong as Queensland from which we can work from. There are strong connotations associated with Queensland, largely driven by beautiful one day, perfect the next. And that means we don't need to keep recreating that campaign message. We get to add depth and build on it through the platform, A Beautiful Way to Be. And this is really exciting and carries on that beautiful theme with more substance and relevance for today's consumer. The track for our campaign is a re-recording of Van Morrison's classic Days Like This, and that's been re-recorded by Busby Marou and Tia Gostello, some fantastic Queensland musicians. It's a really contemporary Queensland version and really catchy. I think after you hear it a couple of times, it's really hard to get out of your head. The video I'm going to play for you now is our 60-second TV commercial. It should autoplay for anyone viewing on a desktop. If you are watching on your mobile, you may need to press the play button. Enjoy.
When it's not always rain and there'll be days like this.
When there's no one complaining, there'll be days like this. Everything falls into place like the flick of a switch. My mama told me there'll be days like this. When you don't need to worry, there'll be days like this. When no one's in a hurry, there will be days like this. When all the parts of the puzzle start to look like they fit. My mama told me there'll be days like this.
So that is our 60-second TVC, which is on air and launched yesterday. I love it too. In addition to the 60-second version, as Carmenta said, we do have our segments that we're targeting. So there will be additional 30-second edits, one themed towards families, younger couples and mature couples. And these will all showcase different experiences across Queensland. And assets will be created throughout the campaign. As you can imagine, getting everything shot in a production window, you know, when we've got weather and some restrictions in place has been difficult. So while we do have our first burst of activity in post-production and on air now, we are certainly underway for our second burst. But in addition to these overarching TV commercials, we're also supplementing the campaign with what we're calling our stories. And this is a series of TVCs that tell true stories, joyful tales of days like this that people have had in Queensland. You may have been reached out to by people in the team trying to uncover those first-person accounts of what made a holiday so special for them. So we have recreated these stories into videos, and they're told in voiceover by the person who experienced them. And it's really exciting. Just, you know, we hope everyone can will see themselves and their holidays in these stories when they go to air in the second burst. So while there is a lot of production and post-production happening, one of the segment TVCs we do have ready to show you is the 30-second families edit. This one will be hitting screens very soon, and I will get Maddie to hit play on this one. Again, if you're on mobile, you may need to press play, but for those on desktop, it should play for you. Hope you enjoy this one.
When you don't need to worry, there'll be days like this. When no one's in a hurry, there will be days like this. When all the parts of the puzzle start to look like they fit. My mama told me there'll be days like this.
My mama told me there'll be days like this.
So that's our families segment TVC. And I just will take you through what our message structure looks like. You know, of course, we are on that consumer journey of dreaming through consideration and to booking. And so we do have some key messages and information that will be elevated in our channels. Our dreaming phase, which is where our 60-second TVC and our 30-second edits sit, is really in that increasing awareness of Queensland. Our message is days like this. It's a beautiful way to be. When we move into our consideration phase, we're really encouraging our planning. So what we want to do in those assets is, of course, have our days like this soundtrack, but start to really elevate the experiences that people are having, the region and place where it can happen, and the operator. Where that's applicable depending on the channel we're in. And then for our booking, naturally there is a conversion piece to our campaign. And this is where we're getting, you know, really to that pointy end where we know it's days like this, we know where the experience can be had and who it's through, and that would drive to a retail partner. So we have in our dreaming stage at the moment a 60-second TVC, the 3 segment 30-second TVCs, and we have a 15-second edit for under 35s. Our consideration stage kicks off with social videos on the 8th of August, which is broad and segment specific for this phase. And then our dreaming TVC burst with our stories kick off on the 22nd of August. So I know that's a lot to remember. Maddie will take you through the media strategy in a sec. But I do want to, you know, let everyone know that there, you know, you have to look at the campaign really holistically. There are many channels, lots of assets being created, and regions will appear in both above the line and below the line activity throughout the campaign, depending on the message that we're in, what stage we're working through. I would just take you through now a few examples of what those assets will look like. First up, we have out of home. This is our really top of the funnel dreaming out of home execution, days like this campaign with our A Beautiful Way to Be creative platform line. Again, dreaming, days like this, A Beautiful Way to Be can be applied to our events. This is the European Masters. And days like this is where we start to be a little bit more specific around the region that we're elevating. So days like this in Cairns and Great Barrier Reef or Fraser Coast or whatever region that image is from. We also have print ads. Hopefully you all saw our DPS in the paper yesterday, which I thought just looked fantastic. And then as we start to move into our consideration phase and our social prospecting, this is where we start to get a little bit more targeted to the segments that we're after. So the first one, very much with the families focused, couples, and then solo. And in our conversion piece, we have our digital remarketing. So basically, if you've touched Queensland.com, we will come after you quite heavily with some holiday deal social advertising. So this is all in play now. And now I'll hand over to Maddie, who can talk through the media strategy.
Thanks, Michelle. So our media strategy will follow 3 key objectives to ensure we're reaching our key consumer segments through the right channel at the right time. So the first pillar is light up the room. So this is all about really launching with high impact, making a strong first impression with consumers to really build their connection to the new brand positioning. We see this running for about 3 to 4 weeks, and to let the brand sit out there and allow Queensland to really stake its claim in this new territory. Our media tactics here will be very broad reaching across all segments. So you can see a lot of above the line channels here, such as TV, print, cinema, etc. And we're also going to be leveraging our tentpole TV programming during this period. So of course, the Tokyo Olympics, which have now kicked off, and also Australian Survivor as well. Then we'll move into the build a connection pillar. And this pillar is really all about deepening the understanding of days like this and the experiences on offer in Queensland, which will be achieved through video. So this is where we start to bring in that true stories content that Michelle just spoke through. This phase will also be followed up with retail reverse co-op activity with our partner My Queensland and supported by always on remarketing with our Queensland holiday deals. Next, we move into the build relevancy pillar, and this is where we start to tailor our messaging to connect with our consumer segments on a more one-to-one level to really build their understanding of what days like this means specifically to them. And this is achieved through targeted digital activity, and we'll also be working with media partners here as well. All of this is, of course, supported by our always-on prospecting, remarketing, search, PR, and retail activity, which Rowena will take you through shortly. This is just a quick snapshot of what our media channel plan is looking like in the intrastate market. So as you can see, coming in quite strong across all channels, we'll have a really strong push ahead of the spring school holidays, and we'll also come in again after the school holidays to really drive those Christmas holiday bookings. And we'll also look to launch in the interstate markets and New Zealand as soon as we can, as to that roadmap that Michael took you through earlier. And just to call out here, we are working with media partners, as you can see. So one of these partners is News Corp. We're looking at an all of Queensland partnership, and more information will be available for you soon on that through TEQ channels and also through iMate. I'll hand over to Rowena now, who will take you through our trade activity.
Thanks, Maddie. This year, our partnership activity will really leverage off all of our media strategy and the awareness and demand created by the new brand platform Days Like This. We'll be working with partners who can drive reach across both New Zealand and Australia for both efficiencies in resources, productivity, and of course our marketing investment. Our distribution partnerships will be realigned to our consumer segmentation that Carmenza took you through, so we can ensure that we're really targeted with our messaging and product to really hit those consumer segments where we need to drive that demand and really push that consumer down the funnel to conversion with urgency and speed. The partnerships who we'll work with, we're looking at high impact, disruptive opportunities that will be both through direct and indirect channels. The opportunities with our partners will be sought through expressions of interest, targeting key challenges and opportunities where Queensland can win. We'll be working to deliver conversion across our whole consumer path to purchase, from early bird bookings to rebooking bonuses. Our approach will be really transparent and collaborative, and we'll share that with you through our TEQ website. And we'll also be looking to see how we can ensure that we're doing cross-promotional activities across aviation, land packages, experiences and touring across all of those consumer segments. So we look to share those plans in more depth with you in the coming weeks. Now I'll hand over to Jono from iMate.
Thanks, Vero. Hi guys, I'm Jono. I head up the iMate team. If I haven't already met you, I know I've met a fair few of the people on the call, but our team's set up to work alongside TQ and provide industry with better insights and application of Queensland's marketing efforts. So the key things that we're really looking to drive, especially for the days like this campaign, is the visibility into TQ's marketing plans, so that you as industry can leverage this across your own marketing efforts and anything you're putting out into market. The second pillar is really around providing free of charge alongside buy-in opportunities to align with the days like this campaign and maximise any investment that you're putting out from a marketing perspective there as well. And then the third is really around allowing industry to reach the qualified travel intenders by leveraging the days like this campaign audience, which will be all driven through to Queensland.com, which will have access to and allow you to really retarget these intenders and really drive or help drive conversion for your business as well. So between iMate and TQ, we've created a few documents that provide the necessary insight and visibility into the days like this campaign and how you as part of the Queensland tourism industry can leverage and align to this. So the industry prospectus that we have developed will showcase a heap of information around this new campaign. It'll also provide you with free of charge alignment opportunities along with paid media buy-in opportunities as well to maximise your marketing efforts. The toolkit, which is the middle one there, it delivers easy to use tactics to help your business to ensure you're aligning to the days like this campaign and really setting up your business in the best possible manner to go out from a marketing perspective. And then the third one there is the campaign toolkit, which also includes the fact sheet. And this has been developed by TQ and will provide key information on the new campaign, along with a creative guide for you to use and include any campaign to use in any of your own campaigns and also through your own channels, like say your social channels or your website. So all of these will be available through the link that you see there on the page on the iMate website. And TQ will also send some links around for the likes of the campaign fact sheet and guide as well. So alongside the free of charge opportunities, we also developed some packages available for industry to tap into and utilise across the next 6 months as well. So the packages that you see on the screen here have been developed directly with TQ and our key media partners so that you as industry have the opportunity to really integrate into the days like this campaign. So the first one you see there is a social package, and this is a retargeting package. As I mentioned earlier, being able to tap into those key travel intenders that will be going through to Queensland.com. So what we're able to do is take that audience segment and apply this to a social campaign for you, retargeting a really qualified travel intender to help convert for your business. As Maddie mentioned, we've got a key partnership going out with News Corp, and we've developed some print and also digital packages for industry to tap into through News Corp and their papers and their online elements as well. And Maddie also mentioned around tentpole programming, and so there's a key alignment with Australian Survivor. And so we've also developed a package to align to TQ and the days like this campaign through broadcast video on demand, so online video, and also display on the Australian Survivor assets to be able to tap in there. And then the final one you see there is featured deals. And this is through Queensland.com. It's a new product that launched recently that we put out about a couple of months ago. And there's a really key opportunity to be tapping into this product through the days like this campaign and over this period. As you would see, this campaign is going to be driving a lot of traffic through to Queensland.com, so it's more relevant than ever to be looking at a featured deal, which takes your deal that you've allocated through ATDW and then amplifies that deal and pushes up towards the top of the listing so that you get more exposure, more leads coming through to your business as well through this product. It's a really key one to be looking at and considering in the upcoming months. So all these packages will range in price, but we'll have a really strong price point starting from as low as around $500 for some of these packages for you to really tap into and again, integrate into the Days Like This campaign. So for more information, this will be sent out to the wider industry today and tomorrow with more in-depth details on the free of charge collateral and also the paid media opportunities we just quickly ran through. So there will be more detail on those paid media opportunities as well with inclusions and all the price points, etc. So please just keep an eye out. This will be coming through really soon. And you can also get in contact with the team, the IMEC team, through the details you see on the screen there. And those details will also be sent with the coming collateral that we pushed out. So feel free to reach out to us for any more information or any inquiries that you might have, whether it's for this campaign or just to help your business. We're here to help. So yeah, looking forward to really engaging with you and hearing from you. I'll hand back over to Michael, who will jump back in.
Thanks, Jono. It's much appreciated, the update there. And also please remember, imate.queensland.com if you do want to know and understand more about those opportunities to really leverage the activity here. In terms of the expected outcomes, what do we want to hope from all of this? Obviously, our number one objective here is to protect our market share. It's unpredictable, it's unreliable. We just don't know what's going on out there at the moment. But the one thing we can't do in an environment like this is lose the share of the market that we have. So our activity is all aimed around making sure that we protect our market share and ultimately then etching out growth in market share as well. We need to maintain our leadership position as a destination and as a brand, both within our intrastate market, but also importantly into the future as our interstate markets and potential other international markets look to reopen again as well. We know how aspirational, we know how strong Queensland is as a destination amongst Australian travellers and maintaining that leadership position. So as we are front of mind and first to mind when a holiday need arises is of utmost importance for us, and a major focus of our activity and the outcome that we're looking for from our marketing. Building aspiration for Queensland into the future. We've seen just how tough and how competitive it is at the moment. If we think about what we've heard today, particularly around some of the inertia that exists in consumers to be confident in travelling, if we're not aspirational and we're not seen as a destination, and our experiences and our attractions and everything else we've got going for us is not seen as something which is an absolute must do, then getting over that inertia just becomes harder than ever. So whilst it's fantastic for us to have very tactical and conversion focused activity and a lot of demand and immediate activity sitting as a platform of all of our marketing activity, we need to make sure that we're aspirational at the same point in time. We need to make sure that all of our marketing and everything we're out there doing is building that desire and demand amongst consumers to get them to get out there and support our Queensland tourism industry. You know, it's not a one or the other. You know, our marketing approach is always about maintaining a very strong balance between building aspiration and then converting that aspiration into demand and visitation for our industry at the back end. It's a holistic approach, and it really is designed to make sure that we take every opportunity and advantage of every single opportunity to convert wherever we can and continue to support the industry through doing so. It's been an absolute pleasure being able to take you through the new campaign approach today. An absolute huge call out and thank you to the entire TEQ team who has worked on this activity and has presented to you today to give you the insights, the overview and background of what this campaign is all about. But most importantly, thank you to the entire Queensland tourism industry for your resilience at what is still challenging and uncertain times. And we hope that you can see, as we do, the opportunity that comes off the back of our marketing activity here to continue to get Queenslanders in the first instance back out there and continually out there supporting our Queensland tourism industry, and then over time as opportunities permit for us to be really aggressive in terms of reaching into those interstate and the New Zealand market as well, to grab every single piece of share and demand we can from those travellers in the months ahead. We know how important it is to you, and we look forward to continuing to support you and do everything we possibly can to keep our industry as strong and vibrant and help really boost growth and recovery in the period ahead. So thank you today. Thank you to everybody for being part of this. If you do have a question, drop it into the chat, and we look forward to your feedback about our new campaign approach. We hope you love it as much as we do. Cheers. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Michael, and big thank you to all of our speakers. That concludes today's marketing update. We really appreciate you all joining us today. If you do have any further questions, please do make sure you get in touch with the team by emailing info@queensland.com. Thanks and have a great afternoon.